So hello, good evening everyone, and hope you all well. And thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Stefan Buerta from Rainmaker Marketing. And my objective tonight is just to facilitate this information session around the mix ahead of the public release on Saturday at 9 o'clock. So we know it's a challenging time for everyone. We know health and safety is a top priority. But the objective of tonight is really just to give everyone unique insights into the product that you probably wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. Whether you've been to the sales office to date, whether you engage with the team, to hear it directly from the masterminds behind this product, and really to try and give you as much insight as possible so that the opportunity to capitalize on the release of the mix is as seamless and effortless and as safe as possible. And we'll be chatting about the various different channels to be able to do that on the weekend, whether it be through a one-on-one appointment in a very sort of COVID and restricted manner, or through the online sales platform, which we'll be going through in detail a little bit later. But yeah, just to recap, and we've had about over 1,000 inquiries to date since the campaign went live at the beginning of June. So it's been an overwhelming response, and we thank everyone for being part of that journey so far. And tonight's session is really informal. We're just going to answer a lot of questions. We're going to go through a bit of insight and hear it directly from the architects, the developers, and from Adrian Hirsch's team are the in-house sales team behind the product. So I think just to quickly introduce the people on the panel, firstly, Giles Pendleton, who's the Chief Development Officer at Attack. How's it, Giles?
How's it? Hi.
Then Robin Maggott, who's the Director of DTE Properties.
Hi, guys.
And just so that everyone's aware that the mix is quite a unique partnership between Attack, who are the developers of Waterfall City, and DTE, who are involved in numerous projects around the country. Then Adrian Hirsch, who's the principal of Adrian Hirsch Properties, and also a dedicated team behind the mix. Welcome, Adrian.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
And then to Ed Batley, who's the principal architect of Batley & Partners and the team who've put the architecture and all the planning into what has become a very iconic building.
Thanks, Steph. Evening, everyone. Good to be here.
So just a couple of things. So just so you guys know, we're recording this, which means that you'll be able to circulate this to any friends or family or any other people who would like to see it. We'll do that in the course of tomorrow as part of our 3-day reminder prior to the launch itself. We're going to try and keep this short and simple, anything around 45 to 50 minutes, and we'll try and get through as many questions as we possibly can, which you can post to the chat function at the bottom or the Q&A, and I'll direct them to whoever's most appropriate in terms of answering. Normal story, if you lose your internet access, all you need to do is just go back into the link, and yeah, I'll just navigate as we go. But what I'm going to ask is for our team just to pull up the marketing video for the mix, just to give you a bit of context before we get going. Giles, I'm going to kick off with you, just in terms of painting a bit of a broader picture around the mix or the Waterfall precinct. So you guys have had an incredible run. I mean, 7 years as best mixed-use development in South Africa and I think 3 years as best mixed-use development in Africa, or in the world. I mean, it doesn't just happen. So maybe just a quick little recap in terms of how you guys have got to where you are and what the vision is going forward.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, I think it's it's a nice pundit to get for the effort we've put into Waterfall. I think anybody who's been here will see that it's a different precinct than a couple of the competing precincts or a couple of the other established areas in and around Joburg, the northern suburbs. I think the nice thing is we planned everything, from where a tree goes to a particular bus stop, to where the security cameras lie, to how do buildings interface with each other to the benefit of the public. So if you're a human, and we're trying to build a city around the human, the convenience and the benefit for a human, it's where do you walk, how do you walk, what do you experience on that process. So I think we've tried to put the human at the center of a lot of our decision making in the precinct, and that leads to a sense of safety and security, a functionality, and an ease of commute, whether it's walking or cycling around the city. And we are promoting, and as Africa's first smart and sustainable precinct and city, we're driving quite a strong narrative around safe, functional, smart. So all of that sort of goes into our thinking around our buildings, around our architecture, around the consultants we work with, around our partners. We're looking, looking forward to the future. I mean, those are nice awards to have, but I think for us it's about creating a product that resonates with our investors and our residents, and with like-minded people, and I think that's what this product has resulted in.
And then Giles, so basically the backdrop there is the mixed building behind you. It's sitting on top of the Mall of Africa, which pretty much sits in the center of Waterfall City. I don't think a lot of people really understand what it means to live within a securely managed precinct. I mean, can you just give us a bit of what is that benefit to a resident?
Yeah, Steph. So I think, think of it as a privately managed estate, so like a residential estate, but it happens to be a town center. So I think in that regard, we control everything that happens inside our borders. We see who comes in, who goes. So we have active eyes on the ground. We have a very strong security protocol across the city from a CCTV perspective. We manage all the maintenance. There's never a traffic light that doesn't work. There's never a pothole in our road. There's never rubbish in the gutters. We run it like a private city, even though we are quasi-private. And what that means is some of the services have been provided over to the city, the city of Joburg, that is. But it's run and maintained and thought of in a private sense. So that means, we vested as a TAC. We own all buildings and all assets within the city. So there's no competing landlords. It's one landlord. One landlord thinks of everything. So we think from the outside in. We've built large. We've spent over R1 billion on infrastructure. That's roads. That's off ramps from the Allendale Freeway, off the Allendale Road from the freeway, should I say? So in that regard, I think we are trying to create a bubble in Joburg that is world class, and I think we've been rewarded as a result by winning the awards. It's world class. It's cutting edge. It's a safe, secure precinct, and human and technology is at the center of it all.
Okay, Robin. I'm currently sitting in the deli and the concierge area. Ed's sitting in the gym for probably the first time in his life, and you sitting above the rooftop. But one of the things from their perspective, you guys have pushed the boundaries with all the professionals in terms of the identity around the product and the unique mix, to excuse the pun. But how would you describe a day in the life for a mixed resident going forward?
Yeah, thank you, Stefan, and thank you for everybody attending tonight. I think first and foremost, before I address that question, I think it was important and I'll talk specifically from a D2E point of view, is, sitting around with our shareholders, wanting to bring something different to the market, and you're seeing some of the visuals behind the individuals. You've got to have the location that matches. And for us, the first and foremost was finding the preeminent locations to bring something different, as opposed to being a me too and just calling ourselves some kind of a micro apartment offering with ancillary facilities. So first and foremost, the location that I don't think we've spent enough time is unheralded, because it really borrows itself to the mix, which is a bringing together of diversity and culture atop of basically one of the largest and best performing shopping centers within Southern Africa, which is then surrounded by one of the fastest growing corporate environments within South Africa. So I think that, you know, coming to the mix, which had various connotations, it was a mix of diversity, it was a mix of people, it was stirring up something different within a South African context, and not to talk about competitors in any way. Like I say, first you need the location, which borrows itself to the product, and then really, if you're going to have a location like that, to not come up with world-class facilities that can match the location, well, you've done yourself an injustice. And over and above the fact that we have the shopping center that provides numerous leisure and retail opportunities, and Giles spoke about the security and the ability to walk or ride your bicycle to work, we really felt that the facilities within the mix, so from the reception area and a deli where you can run down and get a latte or a hot beef on rye, to taking your small pet for a walk in the pet park, to a gym that facilitated a boxing or a gym environment, to work pods, to below ground where we would have a laundromat, because we understand not everybody can just afford to send out their clothing to get dry cleaned, to an amphitheater where we can have that sense of community, which we will ignite for the community of the mix, which might be guest speakers or music or theater and arts and entertainment, right up leading with where you can see my background, which is on this rooftop, which basically gives you unheralded views all the way to Johannesburg as far as Magaliesburg, and we'll be sitting 14 stories high. So, you know, who wouldn't want to end off their day having a cocktail or a beautiful a meal on top of a 14-story building with friends? So I think that's a bit of a snapshot without running down from what happens when you wake up in the morning to the evening. It's more about the different experiences you can have at the mix, ending off with obviously a roof deck that I'm not sure there's anything that exists like that in South Africa.
And I guess, like you say, everyone wants to achieve community and convenience in a new development, but there's so many factors that go into it: location, proximity, area, and product itself.
Well, it's no good promoting this type of product, which is really, to some extent, live small, sleep small and live large, when you are too scared to walk to your work environment, or you've got to carry 4 bags from the shopping center 500 meters up a hill. So, we've really tried to think of all of that. From our point of view, you can exit onto the rooftop parking of the shopping center, walk straight into 2 different entrances in the shopping center. Should you require anything to be delivered, we have a new system, a new locker system. Should you want something warm delivered, say a hamburger, we have a locker system that would store your hamburger or your cell phone, and that would be heated or not heated. You would simply scan a QR code onto the system. So everything from a delivery, from a lifestyle, from an ease of living, we've tried to take care of. We just want our residents to mix and have a good time. And I think what you get with both D2E and Attack is, well, certainly Attack can't walk away from this. So we're not fly-by-night developers who lives by a product that doesn't work. We are instilled in the culture of making this work, and you have this living and breathing already within Attack world, for want of a better word, that will, every single element that is built there, they are, really, in terms of dotting your I's and crossing your T's, making sure that it fits the environment. And this is one element that they were happy to progress with D2E, because it's a different offering that doesn't yet exist, which is a high-rise building, which is really affordable, as 80% of our units sit between the 1 and 2 million rand mark. So that was really an attractive offering.
And then Ed, Robin spoke about living and breathing. This has pretty much been an offspring for you for the last probably 18 to 24 months. So from a recreational space perspective, what excites you the most?
Yeah, Steph, I think, undoubtedly the pool deck behind Robin, it was something that we always wanted to do and didn't know that we could actually get it to work. We had various locations for the pool. Eventually, I think just the draw card of being able to get up on top of the 14-story building and look out back over Sandton and see the sunset. You've got amazing views out towards the west and obviously over the east. So you've got kind of morning views coming in and afternoon. So that place and that space is where we expect, the private mixing to happen. There's public areas on the ground floor, obviously, the one that's behind you, which is very exciting and very colorful, and it'll be a bit more cheek by jowl. But I think we really, even though the apartments have been designed very efficiently, we've really allowed the building to breathe. So, we don't have long corridors. You've got a big atrium with natural light in the middle. You've got communal workspaces. There's lots of places that you go to in the mix to hang out, and that's really what we aspire to do from the beginning, to try and create this very modern but very community-driven and almost homely environment that could sit anywhere in its place in the world, in the big cities of New York, Singapore, Tokyo. I think a lot of the leads that we took on how to put this together was the lessons that we've learned from doing residential buildings internationally.
Okay, and then just a short recap in terms of the different unit types, just broadly.
Yeah, so I think there's about 10 core different types, and I think we've tried to look at each segment of the market and try and get the best flexibility for all buyers. So, we've got the bulk of the units are studios because they are the most affordable, and but also they're exciting spaces. You can have a good, you can invite people up. You can have 3 or 4 people in your apartment at any one time. We've got good balconies on all of them, so they are well designed studio units. We've got 1 beds. So I think the smallest studio is 28, and then up to about 36. The 1 beds obviously go up a bit more than that in the late 30s and early 40 square meters. And then we've got a couple of 2 beds as well. There really is quite a big mix. I think the bulk of those studios are facing north, so they're very good and very warm, but they are quite deep because you're allowing a lot of light in. The units facing south are shallower, so you're still getting good light coming in. So I think there's something for everyone in all of those. Obviously, the corner units are fantastic, and if you can get your hands on those quickly because they're going fast, those are obviously ideal. And there's some interesting things that we've got up at the penthouse units as well.
And Adrian, I mean, leading up to Saturday's public release, what's the interest been like?
It's been incredible. I'm astounded to see the interest in this product. It's a one-of-a-kind opportunity and something very special. South Africa hasn't really seen anything like this before, and it's an opportunity for people who haven't been able to, well, who want to live the New York lifestyle, but really can't afford that. This encompasses all that for them. It's an opportunity to own an affordable apartment in this new age amazing city of Waterfall. The building is 14 stories. It has all these amenities that these amazing guys, these really creative human beings have discussed just before me. It's 14 stories. It's 403 units. All of the units come with balconies, which is amazing for this size unit, allowing sleep small, live large type of, we use that as our tagline in the showroom. It's really amazing because the units are not huge, but it allows you every amenity that you need, and it allows you the opportunity of partaking in the Mall of Africa and all the facilities that the city has to offer. It's an amazing thing. So it's a first, I think it's a first that South Africa has seen.
And then just a question that's come through from Mitesh Reddy, which I think is really relevant to a product like this. And it says, do you see the mix primarily as an end-user investment, end-user product, or invest opportunity for rentals? Which I think is a really good question.
At the moment, what we've seen is there's a very strong investor component. But we have got, I would say at this point in time, we've got about a 25 to 30% live-in owner live-in unit.
Okay, and then Adrian, just on that note, I mean, we all know that there are a lot of unique benefits to buying off-plan, especially from a reputable developer, especially with a precinct that's always appreciating and growing. Plus, to the investor, to the end user, what in your mind are the major benefits of investing into an off-plan development like this?
Well, I think first and foremost is you're getting in on the ground level at a price that is only going to escalate, or capital growth will grow. And it's an opportunity for somebody to buy 18 months to 24 months before it's actually going to come into effect. So price-wise, it's an opportunity to get involved and to be one of the foremost buyers of the development.
Giles, I just want to bring you back in. I mean, I think obviously from Waterfall's always pushed the boundaries in terms of tech and innovation and sustainability within Waterfall City itself. How much of that do you see being applied to the mix of the product?
Yeah, you know, you're right there, Steph. I think we've driven a very hard smart city strategy within Waterfall. I mean, everything from, for example, smart city traffic lights that are networked. So the lights now override the system, and the lights can change according to what the movement of the traffic. So we're using a lot of data. We're data centric. We're using a lot of algorithms and AI to develop future models in Waterfall. And I think so from that perspective, you know, from a security perspective and a tech perspective, we were quite clear up front, and I think it resonated with Robin and his guys on to develop a product that is designed for a more tech savvy end user. So I think you know, Robin can probably share a little bit more data on the app that'll come into place, the digital wallet. But I think we've pushed very hard for this building to be a manifestation of all of what tech can do well for us as humans, to make life convenient. I mean, everything from, you know, I'm still amazed that we can get a locker now. You can have your pizza delivered by Mr. Delivery. It'll arrive in the lobby. It'll go into a hot locker. When the locker's closed, it'll send a WhatsApp message to your phone in your apartment wherever you are in the building, with a QR code scanner. Tells you your pizza's ready. Come and collect in locker 10. You walk downstairs, you scan it in, and your pizza's there. You know, you don't have to hand over the pizza now. The delivery guy doesn't have to come to your front door. So the security is quite important in this building and how we manage who comes in and out. But I think, I mean, Robin, I don't know if you want to jump in just and talk about how we're planning to use that tech from through the eyes of a resident.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Waterfall will have its own. The mix will have its own app. So firstly, I saw one of the chats. You know, how does this make a community? So firstly, I think the fact that this will be an exclusive app to the mix itself lends to that. And I think not only will we have special offers that will come on in terms of alliances that we have been able to obtain for the mixed residents, whether it be in the leisure or the retail industry. So first and foremost, we'll have the app driven. Everything you need, whether it's your room made, to your clothes, to delivery of a sandwich, will be driven by this app. So we are, you know, although we will have a concierge, because as we know, things do tend to go wrong, and sometimes people want to ask face-to-face questions, we will obviously have a concierge on the ground floor, but we're really expecting, within light of and the direction that Waterfall and Giles have said, to become very tech-savvy investors and live-ins, that people, this is their way of life, that everything they want is either their iPad or their phone, and they simply pushing in a couple of applications to obtain what they want.
Perfect. And then Robin, I mean, I think I'm going to ask you the question. It's a question that's come through from Nick Carney. I'm not going to mention other developer names that he spoke about, but it's literally the essence of his question is just what differentiates you from other products other than being upon a shopping center. I mean, I think you've covered quite a lot of it. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. He spoke about vertical villages versus actual villages. I mean, maybe just to touch on anything you feel you want to add there.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I go back to the word location, right? So there are a lot of people who are promoting these type of developments. Nobody has been able to come up with a location. So, you know, some people will say, oh, we've developed in Sandton. Well, you know, Sandton is not as secure as terms of, you know, living next to the Mall of Africa within a secure precinct. So I go back to location. I go back to, because you have a single developer in attack, watching over every element of this development, monitoring exactly the look, the feel, the security. Does it fit in with everything a TAC does to be this award-winning precinct? No other development that has just basically developers can do what they want. So the fact that we have to live and die by our code, that our security has to stand up, that our offering, that our quality of build and product and who builds our building, from then on who's managing the product, who will be managing the short-term rentals and long-term leases. So every aspect needs to stand up, not only today, but for the next 100 years. So we have to show sustainability and continuity. And I don't think other developers are held to that standard.
Perfect. Adrian, I'm going to ask, I want to bring you in here again in a second, but just Giles, just to bring you in here, another question from Vitesh Reddy. We know location and accessibility is such a huge thing about the precinct. He just asked about Gautrain. Obviously, it's mentioned in quite a lot of correspondence.
Yep.
How does it all link to Waterfall as a precinct?
So the existing Gauteng station is Midrand. That's a 60-minute bus ride from directly outside the building. We have two Gautrain, should I say, bus routes. There's the Sunninghill yellow line, and then there's the dedicated Waterfall black line. So that's the first part. The second part is we are working with GMA, that's the Gautrain Management Authority, on the Waterfall station. The Waterfall station will be on the eastern side of the N1 in a precinct. We are very advanced in processes there with regard to feasibility and technical design. That is all permeated by the expansion of the K60 freeway, which is, in other terms, the extension of Vanderbijl, the freeway that comes from Chili Lane at the bottom of Rivonia Road, up to Sunninghill to the back of Eskom head office, Megawatt Park. That freeway will continue through Waterfall, over the N1, over the Yuxkay, over the K101, which is the old Pretoria Road, and eventually line up underneath the Gautrain line and line up onto Allendale Road. And that's the biggest east-west freeway in Joburg in 50 years being built. And that is currently out to tender. The tenders have closed. They closed the end of last month. That is currently during adjudication. It's a provincial road, but being co-funded by the developers being attacked. So that we're expecting those two things to unlock massive amounts of value, both in the precinct and unlocking new precincts for us. The new bus route will then still be a bus route to the station, but it'll be a 6-minute bus ride through two sets of lights, rather than the current 16 minutes. So it's a 10-minute saving on the bus trip. Yeah, so it's not going to be in the city. It'll be on the eastern side of the N1, but still within the Waterfall precinct.
Perfect, thanks. And Adrian, I'm just going to pass two questions on to you. One's about levies, and the other one is just about projected rental incomes, or more in terms of rental returns. I don't know if you would just want to touch on those.
The levies at this point, they're calculating about 35 Rand a square meter, 35 to 40 Rand a square meter. I think that's what it's going to be. It returns on your investment. You're looking at between a 8%, 7.5% to 8% return on your money at this point in time. But remember, we are working on rentals generated, market-related rentals current. It's going to be 18 months from today. So they're very good returns. They're showing good returns at this point. And
I think just to add that question earlier, I mean, just to summarize, I mean, the studios are from 9,999, the one bed from 1,255, and the two beds from 2,405. And if you had to equate that in terms of bond repayments at the current interest rate of 7% based on 90% loan to value, you're looking at a bond repayment of 6,900 on a studio, 8,750 on a one bed, and 16,700 on a two bed. And the equivalent rentals are projected at 7.5, 8.5, and 16,000, which is exactly to Adrian's point. I mean, one never wants to be over project on rentals. I think they're quite conservative, but in terms of bond repayments where they are into the price points, it's quite seldom that one finds that, and I think that comes from the area, the product, and lots of other factors.
It's a very conservative estimate. You know, if you take R1 million purchase, and 80% of our units are priced between 1 million and 2 million rand. If you take R1 million and a 10% deposit, and you take finance for 900,000, the client is paying 6,977 rand a month. You can't get anything of this quality and caliber for that price to rent today. So it's definitely an affordable and very, very, very good investment for a first-time home buyer.
Robin, just back onto you, Dian Beerkrant just asked a question around long-term and short-term rentals. I just want to just touch on that.
Okay, so first, you know, we are not looking to be a facility for Airbnb. We certainly don't see ourselves as a hotel. And when I say short-term rental, you know, in our world, that would be somewhere around a minimum of 30 days. So we're not looking for nightly, and we don't want to enter that game of having people coming in and out. Why is that important to us, both from a security and because we want the sense of a community, and we really want this community. You know, I fight with Adrian, you know, whether it should be investors or buyers. I would prefer more home live-ins, because I know they are there for the long term and will be part of the community, where investors are just obviously looking to rent and make an attractive return on their investment. So we're not doing short-term rentals. We don't want to behave like a hotel or act like a hotel and we want to keep our residents secure. And the way we feel we can do that is by, you know, a different type of short-term and obviously long-term rental. So we definitely won't be doing Airbnb and nightly rentals.
Perfect, Robin. I think Dion's actually answered now to say he was actually asking more about long-term rentals, which Robin's answered. And his question was, what is the projected rental on basically a 1 million rand property, which would be a studio, projected about 7.5 grand, Dion, just so you know, and the one bed's at about 8.5 conservative.
Yeah, I think Stefan, just to add into the previous question, I think the fact that there are so many units in the 403, that is why the levies are actually coming out very attractive from that point of view. You know, if you had these type of facilities in a building that only represented 50 or 100, I guess you would be looking at 100 to 150 rand a square meter. So obviously with scalability, you know, the only way you could present all these facilities at an attractive levy, like Adrian has mentioned, is because of the number of units within the complex.
And Adrian, just in terms of the sales office, so we know we are in a sensitive time, but we also are being very sort of proactive around trying to get appointments done prior to launch, to give guys the ability to understand the product, but also to do it in limited numbers, by appointment only, and then also with the online sales platform, which we're going to chat about in a second. But just that experience, I think it's quite rare to have a full walkthrough of a unit, and to have an office like you have at Mall of Africa. Maybe just to give the guys a bit of experience in terms of what happens there.
We have the most incredible showroom. It is so stunning, beyond all my dreams. And I want to thank the developers for doing that. They have not spared 1 cent in putting the showroom together. What we've done is we've got a beautiful sales showroom, and we've built an actual unit within the showroom, which shows and depicts everything. You walk in, you feel it, you can touch it, you know exactly what you're going to get at the end of the day. It also includes the furniture packs and the appliance packs. We've gone to the extent of putting together every single thing that will make life easy for anybody who's buying at the mix. They can choose to add in these furniture packs as well as appliance packs and move in, and they're even down to the last teaspoon, the unit will be ready for them. It's an amazing area. They'll arrive, they'll be greeted by an incredible sales team with a fabulous cup of coffee or a cappuccino, and it's a relaxed environment, and just very, very easy to go through the units and to see what they're buying. Relaxed, comfortable, and a pleasure to be there. I'm honored to be a part of it.
And hopefully safe, Adrian.
hopefully safe. We've definitely gone to great extents, great lengths to create a COVID-friendly, safe environment for people who are coming to the showroom. We're encouraging people to make appointments, a one-on-one appointment, if they want to come to the showroom. Alternatively, we've gone and we've developed a phenomenal online platform where people can go through the whole process and electronically connect and make a purchase online, from the elements of having the pay for your deposit, your contracts, your offer to purchases, and having a sales associate online with you while you're going through that process. So the whole thing has been thought out from A to Z, and it's just it's an amazing experience.
And Adrian, high level, someone walks in there on Saturday, or they go by the shop and they select and reserve a unit. What happens from there? Okay, well, they'll select their unit. They'll liaise and go through the process with a sales consultant. They will choose their unit. They will pay their reservation fee of 20,000 Rand. They will then go through the process of filling in the offer to purchase. And they have 7 days to pay their balance of the 10% deposit, 30 days to complete their offer to purchase, and also to get their finance, their bond finance. We've got bond originators and attorneys on site in the showroom, on hand to be of assistance to anybody who needs them for any questions or any information that they might require. So it's all been thought out. It's a stress-free process, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. We've had amazing reactions and response from the public. It's been an amazing experience. We've only had 2 days of pre-launch. This weekend is our full launch, and we're looking very forward to it. You know, whenever I have a function or I prepare something special, it always rains. This is not a rain, it's a storm. Level 4 is the worst storm ever. And, you know, Murphy, but it's not going to stop us. We're there, we're waiting, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody come around.
Stefan, there's a question here which was quite a while ago. I just wanted to answer it. It's around the green energy and backup power. So I think just to answer that, I think from an efficiency perspective, the building is 4-star green rated by Green Building Council of SA. We've used highly efficient products throughout for the electrical reticulation system, so that's generating and delivering a low intensity per square meter in the building. So it's all common areas, and all apartments are fitted with LED and energy efficient systems. The entire building runs 100% in backup mode with generators during load shedding. So that's your lifts work, everything works. We've learned that lesson on another one of our residential developments in Waterfall we did, where it became, you know, if you're living in Waterfall, it's almost an expectation that we can keep the lights on, and we're working very hard to do that. And I think that also leads into a greater conversation where Waterfall is attempting to create a microgrid system, which will allow us to run the reticulation within Waterfall as a private network, private electrical network. So the chances of keeping the lights on are much higher than the rest of City of Joburg. So I think there's a lot of time and effort has been put into the experience of the human. You know, how do I experience? You know, there's no point being in a 14th floor, but the lifts don't work and load shedding, and that's an unpredictable system. So I think we as developers and as as the master developers for Waterfall, put a lot of effort into that on our buildings, the redundancy and of living, so that you can always have the lights on.
Thanks, Charles. Just to sort of answer a couple of quick questions. Kamachelo, I know you asked about occupation. I know Robin has actually answered that, but anticipated for August 2023, which is effectively a 20-month build from commencement in early 2022. And then I know Shirley Pell, you've asked about a recording. Yes, there is a recording, and we will circulate that tomorrow. So hopefully you can watch the balance of it and forward it on. And then, yeah, I think those are the key ones there. So what I'm actually going to do now is just open up the module, which I think we're all quite excited about, in the sense that it was always planned. We always knew that we had to contend with lots of different factors. And I think this is a tool there to give everyone the comfort of being able to do everything around the purchasing process remotely if they'd like to. One thing I must stress is that there's an incredible sales team, and we think that this platform works hand in hand with the sales team. And you can see at the bottom right, everyone can see the screen, the panelists.
Yeah.
Okay. So bottom right, there's a full-time dedicated chat function. And I'm going to ask our team to share this link on the platform. Share this link, as well as a link to the online tutorial, which is basically a very short video that explains how to go through the whole process. And what we really suggest, if you're on this, it's such an opportunity for you to see what stock's available and what can be chosen, and to be able to chat with a live member of the team via the chat function, or to be able to chat directly to one of the sales guys who can talk you through it, which means that on Saturday at 9 o'clock, when the sales do open, you can be on the phone with one of the sales team, or before then, you could literally have chosen exactly what unit you want and to be able to go through a very seamless process. So just so you know, and I'm not going to go through this in a huge amount of detail, but if you want to select, you have the ability to select by unit type, for example, or you have the ability to select by price range, for example. So you can see what's being highlighted in terms of price range. So if you had to go here between 1.2 and 1.35, we had to go here between 1.45 and so forth. So it just gives you the ability to be able to find your choices. I mean, if I was looking for a studio between 1.35 and 1.45, it would take me to floor 5, for example. And going into that, it gives you the ability to then go into floor 5, for example, see what units are available. Here's an example of a typical one. I think this is where the engagement with the sales team are so important, in terms of would they recommend floor 3 or floor 4, just to give you the comfort in terms of where you are looking. Gives you the ability to then go into the actual unit in terms of what the views are from that particular unit. These are the ones looking effectively east. And then, sorry, yeah, correct, sorry. And then going into from there into your view of the unit, your unit type layout, and then again showing where this unit is in relation to the floor plan. And it's a very simple process. On launch day, when this goes live at 9 a.m., you then basically have the ability to be able to go into the units, select what you're doing. The add-ons to the units are storage, furniture package, and aircon. Those will be discussed with the sales team separately in terms of adding to your contract of sale. But you're filling in your details. You can select what options you want. And then literally from you placing your order in terms of having filled in your details and then doing a direct bank transfer from there. And then you basically, if you're doing the EFT route, you basically have 30 minutes in which to pay or send your POP to the sales team. Otherwise, the unit will be released. But it's a 20,000 Rand reservation fee, as Adrian mentioned. The bank account details and all the rest will be loaded as the shop goes live. And then if you want to go further in the process over the course of the next couple of days, you have the ability to be able to go in and view the different renders specific to the product. As you've seen here, in terms of position on top of Mall of Africa, actually our sales office is almost around the corner here next to Tasha's. So that would be your direct access. You've got PwC in the background. Many of you will know between PwC and Deloitte, in a normal world, there are over 7,000 people who work in just between those two buildings. And then just the various different renders and so forth that go into it. You can go into video, you can go into unit types in terms of going through all the different unit type options. You can even go into the VR, where you can actually do a full 360 of the different units. And then also in terms of facilities and so forth. What's quite important here also is the downloads page, which gives you ability to view the contract of sale, the frequently asked questions, and a whole host of different other things. But the reality is we want to keep this process seamless. We want to keep everyone safe. We want to give you the option of being able to either go into the sales office with a team like Adrian said, in a very responsible and COVID-friendly manner, or to be able to utilize this tool. I think it's going to be a great way for those of you to capitalize in light of all other factors. And then, yeah, I think those links have just been shared. For those of you on the group, if you can see, we've got the downloads page, which has all the information. We've got the interactive module if you want to go through And then we've got the tutorial, which is to the interactive module, which sits on the downloads page.
Steph, just one thing I'd like to add, which I'm not sure was touched on, but just know every apartment comes with a parking bay that is allocated, a underground parking bay, or for want of a better word, a basement parking bay that is allocated minimum per unit.
Perfect, thanks. And then Giles, I mean, we know a tax track record from a development perspective, whether it be retail, commercial, residential. What are the really key things that you guys look for when identifying a residential product to get involved in?
Yeah, I think, we do a lot of research on our precinct and what works and what doesn't work. And then we've been approached by a number of developers over the years to bring their product. And I think we've been very selective about who we get into bed with and why. I think in working with Robin and his team, there's a track record of what we wanted to achieve. I think when we set out to do this type of product in Waterfall, which again is quite different from the previous product that we launched in Waterfall, we wanted to find somebody that was like-minded, that had skin in the game, but more than just cash in the game, but was vested. I mean, guys who were really interested in the detail of property development. And I think, we from a tax side are mostly frustrated architects as developers. So we got an opinion on materiality and layouts, and it drives the architects up the wall. But I think in that, I've got a partner in crime in Robin that also has the same passion for architecture and the space in which we habitat. So I think just looking at the picture behind you, I mean, that's a unique, lobby, deli, reception check-in. It's interesting. It doesn't feel like a couple of the other competing products, which I think are quite cookie cutter in nature. They all look the same, whether they're in Cape Town, Sandton. It's the same product. When you convert an office building, I think you are stuck with the geometry of the building. I think what we've been able to do, like Robin said, is have a unique location that plays that basically plays up the building and its orientation. So I think from most floors, there's a generous view corridor north and west are the two great view corridors, and even south. You got the spectacular. You got whole of Sandton and the city of Joburg behind, and all the rolling hills between them. So you really can have a good perspective. So look, Attack has always pushed the boundaries on architecture. I think we've got really great buildings in the precinct, and we've got great partners then that let us make them happen.
Perfect, thanks, Charles. So just a couple of things. I think also the launch appointment form has been shared, which is also an ability for you to actually go in and book your appointments for the weekend, whether it be Saturday or Sunday. And just to recap on the process, we're gonna wrap up in a couple of seconds, but sales effectively go live to the public, whether it be in the sales office or whether it be online at 9 a.m. on Saturday. The sales office, for those of you who haven't been there before, is a shop 2003, which is in the Mall of Africa. It's across from Tasha's, which is obviously quite a key landmark in terms of the upper level. We are taking appointments, and you have the ability to either go into that form now. We will also be sending out a 3-day, 2-day, and 1-day reminder to everyone who's registered, and you will have the ability to either then choose the route of going the online option and be able to chat to a sales team and really get yourself familiarized with that, or book an appointment. And like I say, we're in an amazing position. We've had over 1,000 people, and we really are expecting a really, really strong uptake, and really looking forward to giving people the opportunity to experience a lifestyle that, I must say, from our side, we haven't seen before in terms of location and product and everything else that goes with it. So yeah, I think we've answered most of the questions, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. We actually had a great attendance. It's very seldom that you see such a big attendance for a pre-launch webinar, and I think it's just amazing that everyone's taken the time, and we wish everyone well and hope everyone stays safe.